As you well know, Lottie and Simona are no longer with us. The 24th and 25th of October 2018 will be 1 month without Simona or Lottie. Very sad story. One of my neighbor's dogs died, and this is according to the vet, and somehow my neighbor, he's an alcoholic down in front here, and he doesn't take very good care of himself, and he kind of leaves the garbage out front sometimes, and I have to remind him all the time. But so the dogs got part of the dog that was laying there for more than a few days, and they came down with the virus, but I didn't really see any part of the virus or anything until the last day, until so it kind of incubated in Lottie and Simona, and they basically started convulsing, and there's nothing much I could really do for them. I really tried for like about 8 hours, because out where I live, I asked the vet to come, but it was already after 8 p.m. at night. So it was the worst 8 hours of my life, trying to help Simona and Lottie, and I just was there for them when they passed away. But anyways, my life goes on. My other dogs are here. Giuseppe and Bruno are still here. So that is part of Lottie's family, or the last of Lottie's family, which she created. So it's all good. And yeah, as I said, like, life just goes on, and that's it. And that's all you can do. Just move on. I guess when you have a farm, or a small farm, or a homestead, or whatever what you want to call it, you are going to have farm animals. They are just going to die. And that's just part of reality or life, that animals and people sooner or later are going to die. So it's a nice day now. So on to another part of the video today. There's a few things I wanted to show. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yesterday and today, like 24 Celsius right now. It's about 24 Celsius. Absolutely autumn, gorgeous autumn day. And some of the things I've been working on here in the last 3 weeks, and that so everything is sort of going along. I'm working now on the winter beds, and this zucchini from the summertime is still trying to give me a zucchini, but it has not given me a zucchini. I planted chicora again in the back there, and that's like a salad. It's really nice. The tomatoes, I harvested these ones. What happened was, every year there's a big storm here. It may last 1 day to about 4 days, and the buildup of the storm is pretty massive. There's thunder and lightning and stuff, so I do have to shut the internet off for a week or two until the storm subside, because last year I left the internet on and knocked out the lightning knocked out my internet, and for the service guy to come, it took him about 2 weeks for anybody to come here and service. So my internet is actually free. I don't really pay anything internet. It's a guy in the local town, high in a mountaintop, and I just see him every week, and I give him some eggs and some food, and he's like this computer internet geek, and he lives like in a small stone Amsterdam style house and stuff, and he runs his whole internet empire from his house there or something. So pretty nice guy to do that. And so anyways, going on to my videos, what I've been doing around here is I harvested when the storm came, and it was really raining here, because it rained about 1 meter. As you can see, this barrel here is about 1 meter, so this barrel was almost empty. It was down to almost there. So it rained 1 meter here in 4 days. That's how much rain. And everything in town, and the farmers down in the valley, they got all flooded. Anybody who had a basement, they got flooded. It was pretty, like I went the other day with my Jeep to town, and just looked around and stuff, and everybody just, and I was listening to the radio. So the only thing I had for about a week and a half was just the radio, all in Italian, and just trying to understand what they were saying. So I harvested the last of my tomatoes outside here, and they're doing okay, and I'm just gonna throw hay on top of this. And these tomatoes will actually come back in when the summertime comes around. They will start coming, because I will just protect them with hay. And I'm gonna plant on top of this again. I'm gonna plant something out here, maybe some cabbage or something like that, and I can get sprouts from the garden shop in the small town, in the small local town here. The lady's selling, and I've been dying to do that, so I'll do that on Monday. And so I got fennel coming up here now, and this fennel I already planted a couple weeks ago. This is about 3 weeks, so 3 weeks ago I planted this. And then I have the wraps here. This wraps is also like it's sort of a cross between a kale and a cabbage, and it almost grows like a weed, like a tomato sort of thing, but it grows really big, bushy and leafy, and it's really nice. You can put it into soups and things like that. And I got some sprouts also from the garden shop too, so I put those ones in. So I bought about 2 dozen sprouts, so I'm planting sprouts inside and outside the greenhouse, which really helps out. So I wanted to see if my sprouts, if my seeds here work better than the sprouts in the garden shop or something like that. But fennel here, some on the outside, when I planted, I saw last year one of my neighbors planted fennel outside, and it just does its own thing. You don't really need to give it a lot of water, and you just wait for the rains and stuff like that. And there's a lot of water in this, so everything survived the storms and that. And I planted onions in here, and I harvested out of this bin. I wasn't able to make the video, but I harvested out of this bin about 50 kilos of potatoes. It was pretty incredible. I was doing that during the storm, like when there was a storm break. I thought I'd pull some out, and there's more potatoes in here and stuff like that. So, and a little bit surprised later on today if you can hear the bang in the background and stuff. So my olives are ready after the storm now. So if I get a 5-day dry out period, I will harvest the olives, and I will start doing that like on Monday or something. I look at the weather forecast, and I'm aiming anyway to start on Wednesday through Friday. And if I get the olive oil mills will give you about €1 a kilo for the olives. Average this year. Last year they could probably give you 125, 150. It depends on the quality of the olive. This year the quality of olive is okay, but last year was really super because you need the 40 Celsius degree heat. So this summer we never had 1 week of 40 Celsius degree, 45 Celsius for 1 week for the big dry out. And that's where the olive really, the oil and stuff really starts to come out in the olives. So I'm hoping I don't get another rain or something for another week, and then that way I'll be harvested, or I'm just gonna lose the whole crop. But it's not really that much of a big deal. I have so many things to do around here, and I can survive another year basically without olives and stuff. Selling olive oil is probably one of the main things around here. I have like 150 trees, and I have like 50 good trees that are trimmed like this now, and down the back I have like another 100 trees and stuff like that. And looking at them, and there are ones there that are not even, that are sort of half ripe, because I have a few calamatas and stuff that are half ripe, and those are coming, and those are worth a lot more. So into the greenhouse we go. So I buried Simona. I cremated Simona and Lottie, and they're in here. They're in this bed, and this bed's gonna stay here possibly for as long as I can plant and grow, and they're gonna give me back some real life and stuff like that. So I put a new bed in here, and it's on the rocket mass heating concept, and that it's got hay. It's filled all the way to the top with hay, and then the top layer is chicken mist, and then a little bit of the top part is potting soil. And then I got these big stone blocks in here, and during the daytime the sun hits, the hay is giving off the heat, and then the stone blocks collect the heat, and during the night the stone blocks are returning the heat back into the greenhouse. So I'm getting really self-sufficient here. I gotta close the door just to keep the heat in and stuff like that. I got beets growing here, and here there's all red beets. Potatoes again, so I got some winter potatoes, which will be nice. And I got a whole bunch. This is only 1 week, so this is the wraps again, but this is wraps in my greenhouse. So I seeded wraps almost at the same time, or rapa. And as you can see, like, so this is edible now, right? I can just cut this up and I can put it into soup, like as a herb or something like that. And I can start weeding, like I can start like pulling some more and more out. And then as I start pulling more and more out, then I can get more blooms and everything. I'm just really trying to keep the heat in the house because I'm not too worried about this rapa growing really like out of control or too high. Rapa is almost like a weed or something, and it kind of just grows the way it wants to itself. It's not like a beet, it's not really like a vegetable, it's like a leafy kale, cabbage sort of thing, and in that sense, but it really grows like a weed. So, and then I had to move some parts of the greenhouse around, and I still had some red hot peppers from the summer, so I'm gonna pick these today. And then I have the long peppers, which are here. So I really like the long ones, and these ones are really nice. And I have the long peppers, and then I have all my herbs, which have been growing fabulous since I've been able. I took the Zucchilunga off the greenhouse, harvested it all back, and I put the tomatoes outside on my patio. And there are some tomatoes, pomodores in here, and then I got a whole bunch of new basil growing here and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have pizza on Sunday. I'm gonna make like a nice pesto and make some nice basil. There's still my aloe vera, the rosemary. There's more basil, and it looks like my melanzani in the back here, which is right here, it's actually had a bloom, and I just saw that today because of the warmth and heat in here. It's about 30 plus degrees, so it's in the low 31, 32 Celsius in here, so it's nice and warm in here, which will actually create a melanzani bloom. And depending on the weather, so if I don't get another rainstorm for a couple of days of rain, I probably will get a melanzani. It will be really cool. And I got a whole bunch of new pomodores growing in here. These are all new pomodores, because the problem was with this tomato was that it was growing out of the greenhouse, and the ones that grew out of the greenhouse, they were not very good quality. So then when I cut it back and I shut the window, all of a sudden this thing just started taking off and giving me more. And this is what I said like back in August, that I will have a third or fourth growth of tomatoes, and this is like the third growth, and if I'm lucky and the weather holds back, I'll have like a fourth growth. And these are the bananas. So supposedly it takes about 8 or 9 months. For the first time, it takes about 9 months, 8 or 9 months for you to get Banana Argento to have your first bananas, which would be really cool. So about springtime or end of dead winter, if the weather holds up in here, and these guys don't grow so big, but they're supposed to, they grow like 2, 3, 4 meters high. These are the bananas. So these are all my bananas, and they're growing like crazy in here. And they're all, everything in here is all on my organic fertilizer from my chickens, my animals, and myself. So there's still some radish growing back here, and I've kind of kept this greenhouse closed for like a week now, so I haven't done a lot of harvesting. I've just done peppers in here really quick and grabbed a few tomatoes and left, because I'm really trying to concentrate on this bed here. And this is my winter backup supply, and that I have more fennel coming up here. So I have fennel on the inside and outside growing, and then I also had some carrots here, and I planted turnips and some other winter greens vegetables. So this is my winter bulb bed basically, slash beets, fennel, and carrots, and turnips, and maybe something else. Looks like those little ones came up, so we'll see. So I had from last year the fennel, it just kind of reseeded itself, which is really cool. So I'll be making, because I like fennel, you can make soups from it and things like that. You can put it in your soups every day, or every time you make soup, and I've been eating chicken soups and things like that. So that's all cool. I got still the Austrian mountain cabbage from last year, and then these red peppers are all going, the red peppers, which I'm a really big fan of, and the olive oil and the extra virgin olive oil with salt and garlic. This is absolutely gorgeous. You just toast up, get a nice, bake your own bread, make a nice toast, and then olive oil and salt and garlic and these red peppers in a jar, and which I ate today with some honey. And my honey was ready today too. My bees are working all summer, so I did harvest a little bit of honey from the hive this week, which was really cool. I'm just gonna keep that door closed. It's gonna be a bit of a long video because it's a little bit of a catch up here. Water well's good. There's lots of water in there. The rain really filled up that thing. It's just about a meter of water too. I looked in there the other day, it just filled up. I've had oranges now on top here, but down below my whole entire orange grove, which will possibly be another video. I'm full of oranges. I got like 12 orange trees down there, mandarins, navels, different types of oranges and things like that. I've harvested a couple off of here. So the weather is on oranges, it's really a lot of rain, because last year I didn't have a lot of rain. And in these beds, as I had before, it's kind of being really touch and go, but I do have some carrots growing in here, and then I seeded Rapa again this week. And Rapa is also a revitalization, so it'll revitalize your garden because it'll put the greenage in your garden, and what you don't eat, it'll kind of return back. It'll return back what the lost part, the minerals that are missing in the soil in order for a good planting or a good growing of a vegetable. So there's all Rapa in here. I just bought a big sack of Rapa. It was like 500 grams, and I spread it out all over the garden. So there's all Rapa growing in here. This is the only one, this bed, and the other one, this kind of greens, and there's some weeds, and there's some tomatoes. And same with this one. There's more Rapa, and there's like more fennel actually coming in here too, which is really cool. So there's like a whole mix of weeds and greens and different type of herbal plants and things like that, which are okay to have. And then I have some flowers growing. There's like a test bed of these wildflowers, and they all survived also the big storm and everything. So I wanted to have another bed in front of my house with some nice flowers and stuff like that. Kind of when you wake up in the morning and you look out your window and you see flowers growing, kind of makes your day, sort of thing. So I want to make another bed or move this bed, and I built a box for it, which is over here with the beehive. So that was another afternoon for like an hour, just getting some screws and some old short pallets. I went out of town for a little drive, and I went behind this store, behind this stove building center store, and they had these pallets which the pellet stoves come on. So I grabbed the pallets and I just threw them in the back of the Jeep, and then I built and screw this together. So I have a nice planting bed here for flowers and things like that, which I want to get on to doing, but maybe not today. And then the bees, they also survived the storm. I didn't take too much honey out of the hive from the summertime. It was only like 500 mils. But as the winter now goes on and there's just plastic, there's plastic wrapped around here, the hive, to protect it as the days go on. And as the days get colder, and then when winter comes, it will be completely wrapped in plastic. And then when spring comes again, so there will be like little hold spots where the bees, if it's a nice day, can come in and out, and they will basically, the plastic will get onto the hive and keep the hive warm. It's the same thing like as a greenhouse effect. It's a very small hive. It's only like about 100 bees, but it's all good. I haven't not opened the hive at all. The only way I've checked through the flow hive is through the window, and I've seen them working and still bringing in honey. I seen bees today on my door here in front of my house. So I'm gonna get on to chopping some firewood today. And the chickens are really growing a lot. I had 5 hens before, so 5 hens and 1 rooster, which was Hansi. Rudy passed away because you can only have 1 rooster in a coop. I didn't build a bigger coop because I was waiting to see. So this actually fits them. It's not too small for them. I wanted to build a bigger coop off to the side here, like a nice big shed coop. But that's something, maybe if I had like 100 or 200 hens or something like that, then I could go into egg production and selling and things like that too, which would be really nice to do. But it's just me, and I work at little stages, and then as I progress, you know, things are slowly going to living off the land and just harvesting my own food about 95% of the time now. So these chickens are all in here, and they do want to get out because I do free range them at the nighttime. But I have now, what I'm going to show you has come, so I kind of flex in between. Normally about 2 o'clock in the afternoon I was letting these chickens out till sunset, and they would just free range around the whole property here and everything, and then they go lay their eggs, and they lay their eggs in the morning. And the storm, unfortunately, the 4-day rainstorm, I got tomatoes growing under there, but the pumpkin did not survive. I should have planted the pumpkin at least 2 or 3 weeks earlier, even though with the hot weather and everything, because my neighbors all got pumpkins. I didn't, so I melt some food. But I have a friend in town, and he's got a nice field of pumpkins, and everybody here loves my eggs, so there's no problem. These chickens are making me some real nice eggs. So just trading food and stuff like that if I need a pumpkin. So I did try this ground cover. I looked today, and the pumpkin just dead as water. And actually what's popping up there is some tomatoes, pomodori, and they're doing okay, like sort of hanging in there, but not really good. So these olives are all getting ready here. Nice big black olives, nice big black olives. They're still a little bit too full of water, but hopefully the sunshine and stuff will sort of dry them out over 5 days, and I'll get some real nice oil. Also, what I wanted to do was to harvest the last of my Langeria, which is right here. So this is the last Zucca Lungo, and it was kind of a surprise to me to see this Zucca Lungo growing here, and it survived all the storms and everything, which is right here. So there you go, last of the Zucca Lungo. These guys can get pretty big and heavy, but I love this. This is a really resistant all-weather vegetable, and it's kind of a cross between a cucumber and a squash, but it's juicy and you can just eat it plain as it is. So I'm just gonna, there, that's harvested now. I'll leave that and we'll continue on the video. And so this has been growing now for a couple weeks, even before the storms had started, and somehow with the rains and stuff, I looked the other day and it went from here to there in like 2-3 days. So, and I saw that there was one growing here. Where is it? Maybe there is one other one growing. They kind of hide themselves, and all of a sudden, see, there's one growing here like this. That's what they look like. So if I do get some nice weather, maybe it'll grow. And I got to do some watering in the greenhouse. So maybe that one will grow. We'll see. If not, it's not very good in that way to eat it like that. If it doesn't grow, then I just give it to the chickens. But this is my last one, and I did a whole bunch of pickling, which will be some other videos. I pickled this one. I did like 10 jars of this Zucca Lungo and like Zucca Lungo Adriatic salad with the curry and salt, pepper, all the herbs and things like that. If you've been watching the videos. And the chicken's been picking on this. Some grass has been coming up, which is grass has reseeded itself. It's all the cycle of nature. So I wanted to get on to starting up the still today, which is all set up there. I got to get some gasoline in, and I got to still a whole bunch of firewood along the back from the trees, and the wood has really been drying out. It's the nice thing about living in the Mediterranean Adriatic part here is that even though you do get the rain, after 5 days everything just dries out again. So because of this warm weather. So filling up the root cellar, I've been slowly picking at my dead winter firewood supply, which is here, and I've been all stacking this up. I did this yesterday. I got a whole bunch of firewood in here now, halfway, and hopefully I can get it another couple, 2 or 3 wheelballs in here today. Again, fill it up another ½ meter high, and then fill this whole thing up, since I only have 2 dogs now instead of 4. Fill it all up with firewood. So this is Bruno. Say hi, Bruno. It's unfortunate that I have neighbors that don't care, and they just put their poop, they just put their animal poop and stuff out on the lawn too, which makes my dog sick, and I don't like tying up my dogs at all, right? I got a fence here and stuff like that, but somehow my dogs still get out. So I built this corral. So Sunday actually will be 2 weeks. So I started building this corral 2 weeks ago Sunday, and well, I'll show you what's in here because you can possibly hear them. And when the storm came, I built this goat shed, this goat shelter here, sheep shelter, and this is all pretty good, and they love this now. And I checked the last night, and they're sort of settling in. They're sort of settling in here, and they're all starting to sleep. So here's Pippi and Ziggy. Why don't we go around, why don't we go into the corral and take a look at Pippi and Ziggy. So I set this up simple. From a rancher that I knew in Canada, and he used pallets as a gate and stuff like that. And I actually transported the goats in my trailer using this same concept. So these 4 pallets are just tied together and with a rope tied around them and wire. I just put this on the back. I just put this on the back of the trailer. It only took me like 15 minutes and I was all set to go, and I had like a goat cage to transport the goats. And the goats came from a neighbor. He's about only 4 kilometers down the road, down the back road here. to town. He's lived in this stone house all his life with no electricity, no running water, no shower, nothing, no television, just a radio and an old big Italian fireplace in a very small hut. So I gotta climb over this fence here. Oh, you gotta be careful so I don't drop my camera. So this is Pippi and Ziggy. So Pippi, she's a nanny, and I didn't really ask him too much when he told me. He says, "Yeah, I have your goats," because I only asked for one male and one female goat. And they're so curious to see what this thing is here. And don't you dare try, sweetie. Don't you dare try, sweetie. And you too. Don't eat my camera. But they are really sweet. They're really docile and gentle. And they just like to really snuggle up, sort of thing. So hey, don't touch my camera. So she's about 3 years old, or like, because she's got the horns already, so she's a mature female. And this one here, since he's not milking, he's already over a year old, so anywhere from a year to a year and a half. He hasn't had the horns. The males will start growing their horns at about 2 years. And you're trying to eat me again, aren't you, Pippi? So this is Pippi. And Pippi's really sweet. She's a little bit stubborn and she doesn't like want to go down, but she needs her goat walks every morning. Now around 8 o'clock we go on a goat walk around my 14 and a half acres here, and she picks out and eats whatever she wants, basically, because I got a lot of bushes and they eat a lot of trees and bushes. So the main part in a goat's diet is selenium, copper, and thiamine, and the B12. And the selenium they get out of here, out of the hay, which is the wheat. And the copper they actually get. So the nice thing is that I have olive trees, and I have all these olive trees are hanging to the ground here. So anything that is hanging to the ground and it is green does have some sort of copper, or seashells, things like that, have some sort of copper in them. And thiamine is also another one, is from the green leafy plants or the bush plants or the herbs on the ground, things like that. They get the thiamine, the B12. So, and they're nudging me again, so they really like it. How do you guys like your new corral, huh? It's a nice day. They're so happy today. They were so happy to get out this morning. When I was in Austria for a couple years, I had a neighbor and he had goats, and I learned a little bit about goats, and I always wanted to get my own goats. So I'm just trying out 2 goats now, and then next year I'll probably get a small herd, because I really like these ones. They're not really aggressive. She's a little bit stubborn. She sort of likes to stay up here before going on a goat walk, but they need to get walked because they're eating a lot of hay and it kind of stays in their stomach. So the movement of going up and down the hill here, because it's very steep going down the back way, the movement and everything sort of gets their digestion going. So she's up. She's a real jumper too. You're gonna say hi, sweetie, huh? Oh, no, because she jumped on top of me. But anyways, so far I like them. Very cheap to keep and to maintain. These are I still have to find out the variety of goat. I think they are Calabrian, sort of from Mediterranean, and they're very, yeah, as I said, they're very gentle and docile. She's a little bit stubborn. She doesn't want to go down right away. She kind of stays up here and needs some trees before she comes down. But the kid here, once when Ziggy starts going, then she follows right behind. So I think that I haven't got the whole story of everything, because when I got there that day and I picked up the goats, the guy says I got to get going here, because he's got a whole herd of like 60 plus goats, 60 or 70 goats. So for sure next year, he says, you know, he's got some more goats for me. Just getting somebody to sell you goats and things like that, because if these guys get out and that sort of thing and they go onto another paper, they can really cause destruction, but not on my property. My property still needs a lot of cleaning and things like that. So it's all good. Ain't you, huh? Oh, ain't you, huh? Yeah, you like that, eh? So, okay. Anyways, I gotta get into doing a little bit of gardening. I gotta take these guys out for another walk for another hour. Then I let my chickens out till sunset. I still haven't eaten yet today. I've had a good breakfast. But all these other things now in my life to keep me busy and stuff like that. Want to say hi one last time? Say hi. Say hi to the camera. Ooh, okay. Just don't chew or nibble. So this goat shed really turned out to be okay. I basically did the wiring. The fence was pretty simple. It was just roll the fence out and get a hammer, put the stakes in, put some wires in. But I didn't. It took me about 3 days to actually get it sort of really secure. And this Canadian style ranch gate out of pallets worked really good. And I want to finish it off. I just need to get another meter or two of wiring or something like that to make it really secure and things like that. But I don't got a whole herd yet, so it's just 2 goats and they're not going to jump out or anything like that. So I've been watching this and they're still trying to figure out how to get over those pallets. It's too high for them. And I got like these big round rolls of hay. They're about 400 kilos, one round roll. And I got 3 rolls, so I got 1,200 kilos. And this should last me all the way through next year then. But if I get more goats, it'll probably last me into winter, like end of winter, start of spring. And it's really nice that I built this coverage here and stuff. And there's not a lot of barns here. They built kind of stone bars, but as this was sort of all wet the other day, it's all drying out again because of the temperature. So, and they were sleeping well here last night and everything. I always check on them in the middle of the night. And Ziggy's been sleeping. The first few nights they were kind of hesitant. They were all nervous and everything of their new home. But they seem to like it now and the weather is nice. So you gonna say bah? Bah! Bah! He said bah, huh? So I do have some feed actually for them, and that is the selenium, and it has the copper, and it has the thiamine B12. It's a special mix that I make, that I save, that I keep behind from my own harvesting and things like that. So I keep that in them too, but they're this guy I got him from, he doesn't really do anything. He just lets his goats out in the morning and they come back at the end of the day sort of thing. And these are like wild natural goats. They're organic. They're not farm goats with the antibiotics or anything like that, but they're really friendly because this guy, that's all he does. He lives like a hermit in a small stone house with a big barn out behind his house, and he's lived that way all his life, and he takes really good care of his animals. So blessed to have somebody who was willing to sort of sponsor me or allow me to have goats, because it's, I mean, there are a couple of people here and stuff and trying to get goats and things like that, and there's a lot of bureaucracy here, like from farmers and things like that who want to get goats. So these are the tomatoes, and there's a few, there's like one here that two that are starting to grow again. So these will sort of be out here on the patio. Next summer I'll leave this out here and this will be tomato growing. Got to get some plastic wrap around this coverage when winter comes and everything. Okay, well, lots for me to do here. As you can see, it's nice to be back up and going after a couple of days of turning the internet back on and getting videos going. So let's see, I want to turn, there we go. So this is Tony at Casa Esmeralda. If you've seen my videos or liked my videos, thank you very much. So please do like and subscribe. I hope I've inspired you to do some gardening, to go outside, outdoors, to do some planting, grow your own food, harvest your own animals, all those things that nature can provide for you. Yeah, and just a really nice day. Gonna get the firewood up and running here now. So take care and bye for now, and it's nice to be back again.